My brother's birthday was yesterday. It's his first birthday that he hasn't been here in the flesh. So that definitely touched my heart. But I want to tell you about a little blessing within the grieving. And that is that my niece, we were all joking with her because she was pregnant. And her due date is later in December. And we were joking saying, this little girl is going to be born on my brother's birthday. And it almost happened, you guys. 4 hours. She came 4 hours before his birthday. But there's no doubt that he's with us in that little life, in that light that was born. So there's no extinguishing of light. Once you're light, you're always light. And that's what I want to say. I also love that our theme this month is we are the light, and that we get to overcome uncertain times with knowing who we are. The rewriting the story of not mattering. It couldn't be more perfect for today. Because I look at all of you that are going through what you've gone through, and that you're here committed to your sobriety, to your life, to doing better, to mattering. I couldn't have planned that if I tried. It's really Spirit that plans this, not me. So it can be so easy to notice differences. But what Michelle Obama said in that book is, it can be easy to assume that your differences are the most visible part of you. The thing people perceive first. When you start to rewrite the story of not mattering, you start to find a new center. You remove yourself from other people's mirrors and begin speaking more fully from your own experience, your own knowing place. That reading that Selena did for us earlier. I think that's so powerful. Because we have all had moments in our lives where we felt like we didn't matter. I want to say this to all of you that are here from the choir. You might see someone out there driving a great car, and they've got a family, they've got all these things. I guarantee you, everybody on this planet has had moments where we felt like we didn't matter. It happens in all kinds of ways. Times when you felt like you didn't fit in, where someone had a thought about how to do something and you thought you had a different thought about how to do something. Maybe your life looked different than even your family. My life always looked different than my family. What about this? When you're this big, the message I got was, don't cry. Children are supposed to be seen and not heard. How many of us have heard that? I know I have. And what I took away from that was, my feelings don't matter. My life doesn't matter because I am feeling this and I'm being told to shut up. Don't express yourself. Don't say it. It happens in so many ways. Yes, I am a white woman on the outside. And on the inside, I am a white woman that loves women. My life was never going to look the same as other people in my family. I was also brought up in Judaism, and I lived in places like Florida and Atlanta, where, I'm serious, the other kids in my class wanted to see if I had horns on my head. I wasn't like everybody else. But you know what? That's the amazing thing about life. We're never like everybody else. We're unique expressions of light. Like Selena said in her prayer, each snowflake is different. Each tree is different. Each animal, everything, every blade of grass, if you inspect it, they're different. Nothing is the same. So, who's seen Wicked in here? I actually played with the idea of wearing pink and green, and I was like, I looked in my closet and said, no, maybe I needed to go to Shemaine's house, but it wasn't going to work, so I went neutral. So, Wicked. I wanted to bring up Wicked because, now I'm not going to tell you the whole story because I know there's people in this room that haven't seen the Broadway show or the movie, and I don't want to ruin it for you. But I can talk about some of the things. I'm the kind of kid that every year, okay, I'm going to date myself, you youngsters over here. Every year on TV, we didn't have unlimited channels. We had TV stations, and once a year, they played Wizard of Oz. Right? Remember that? Oh, my God. My family would gather around the TV, and it was this big box on the ground. We'd gather around to watch that Wizard of Oz. I loved it. I absolutely love that story. And then when Wicked, the stage show, came out, I had to see it. Because what Wicked is telling you the background of how Wizard of Oz became Wizard of Oz, how those characters became who they are. The Good Witch, Glinda, and the Wicked Witch of the West, Elphaba. So in this story, Elphaba, and I can say this because I know that the promos are everywhere. Elphaba was born green. I know this is a fictional story, and what does that have to do with life? Everything to do with life. Because some of us do look different. That was my other difference too. When I was 10 years old in school, I was already heavier than the other kids. There was another reason that I was different and that I stood out in a different way. Well, here's Elphaba. She's born green, and her parents didn't want anything to do with her. But what she possesses inside is this powerful magic. She doesn't know it's within her because all she knows is that she is not mattering. She doesn't belong. She's displaced until someone sees the light in her. I had that happen to me. I was 17 years old, and I call her my spiritual Eskimo. Her name is Frida. She rented rooms to friends of mine in Los Angeles. And one day I drove by, and I said, I'm stopping. I knew my friend wasn't home, and she said, what are you doing here, dear? Bob's not here. And I said, I want to see you. I don't know what it is about you, but I want to know more about you. Call her my spiritual Eskimo because at 17 years old, she saw the light in me. She gave me a list of books to read. She gave me back then a cassette tape, 28 days to make a new habit, to learn how to meditate. I left with this list of books. I left with this little, not CD, tape. And it changed my life. Now, I wouldn't say that, nothing happens in an instant. Some people do have miraculous miracles that just, something happens, bam, and their life is changed. Most of us, however, are on a path. See, we're on a spiritual path. Mine just happened to start at 17 years old. Well, here's Elphaba. She goes to university, and someone sees the light in her. That's what we need to do for each other. The minute you recognize it in yourself is the moment you should recognize it in other people and let them know. You have children in your family? Let them know how bright they are. Let them know how powerful they are. See, a lot of times back in the day, we didn't get that. Our parents only did the best that they can do. I don't blame them for a thing. I had to go through those years of not mattering in order for me to be here, standing here in front of you today. I remember, it was either junior high, maybe it was first year of high school, and I had to get up and give a report. I could barely get the words out. I never thought I'd be speaking in front of an audience. I was and am and always will be an artist. I like being behind the scenes, taking pictures. In high school, I would make the sets, paint the backgrounds, but I didn't want to be front and center because there was still that place in me that didn't think I mattered, didn't recognize my own talent, didn't recognize my own wisdom. That's what we all get to do. And that's one of the reasons, just one of the reasons that I love this film so much. Because the way they've taken it is not just from a place of understanding the light that you are, but there's so many innuendos, social cues in there about being different and yet belonging. About not letting someone other you and still moving forward. Because look, like I said, it happens to all of us. Now, Elphaba, she couldn't really get away with people not noticing she was different because she was green, right? But a lot of us, you can't tell from the outside what's going on inside. That's why we come to communities like this. Because we know you are the light. We know you are a miracle. We know you are powerful. We know you are talented. We know that that is just the way you came in to this body temple. It can be nothing else but light, because that's who and what we are. So, more from the book, Michelle Obama's book. Our differences are treasures, and they're also tools. They are useful, valid, worthy, and important to share. Recognizing this not only in ourselves, but in other people around us, we begin to rewrite more and more the stories of not mattering. It's a great book. If you want to get it, but we talk about it here on Sundays before service. Reverend Myrna has been leading that, and we're always going to have a book study when we change our new schedule, by the way. 9:30 a.m. Be here. So I mentioned that my young life was filled with experiences that made me feel like I didn't matter. How do we move forward in life when we have those circumstances? So I was thinking about it for myself. Some of those ways for me is I've always stayed open to my heart, to listening to my soul. Very different, you guys, than the head. The head gets us into trouble. I mean, we need it. Our minds are great. We need our minds. And this is where the ego is, and this is where I can get into trouble. But if I just check in with my soul and my heart, all the answers are right here. The second way is, once I was taught that I had that spiritual Eskimo free to tell me I was light-filled, I started to search for those qualities within me. So I became a seeker. I call myself a spiritual seeker. You know what? It all leads back to right here. Everything is here. Everything that I need. But I needed someone to tell me that to open up my own internal door. And lastly, and I'm grateful for this, I think I was just born courageous. I was born bold. I was born brave. And I decided, this is a big one, I decided that being happy was more important than listening to all those other voices. That being authentic and being who I am is more important than what society says. Because look, I come from an art background. I used to retouch magazine covers. And I'm telling you, people don't look like that. I made them look like that. I took out wrinkles and pock marks and all kinds of stuff to make people look perfect. There's no such thing. Right? Just the way we are, the light that we are, that's all we need to be. And I wanted to end with something. It's a poem from Amanda Gorman. She was the poet laureate that did an amazing poem for the inauguration of Obama. Or was it Biden? Biden, yeah. She wrote this poem about Wicked, and it's magnificent, and it really summarizes the power of this film. So Raj is going to get it queued up.
Are we born wicked? Or do we have wickedness thrust upon us? Are we born bad or brave? There is a world we miss when we misbehave, but we miss just as much when we misconstrue, when we distrust what is different and detest what is new. History is written by the victors, and villains are embittered by the forcible and the few. But through how we live, our children learn what we earn when we're earnest and what we forge when we forgive. Only with decency do we discover people are not born evil. We are born equal. Green, not with envy, but what we envision in each other. As sentimental mankind finding ourselves even in the dark. There is a goodness that knows in our hearts no one is wicked at birth. We are born to light the wick of the earth. We are all that girl. When something changes within us, something changes in this vast world, we will never be the same. This feeling, fervid as a flame, has a name. Unadulterated loving. Rushing, flooding together, we will stare down the Emerald Tower. We will not cower. We will not let our power take over us, but let ourselves take back our power. We won't just say we're sorry now, rejoicify that we're glad and grateful just to be seen and not listened to. We'll dream, soar into the blue, rise up to a new reality, because defending the good is how we defy gravity. So if you dare to find us, look to our west-turned eyes. Everyone won't do good deeds, but all deserve the chance to try, to be understood as we should. And if this they would mourn as wicked, then let this wicked do us good.
Let's pray. With great gratitude, I come here today, Even using this fictional story, I'm grateful for the writers and brilliant artists that came up with this storyline. Because we all get to defy gravity. I'm grateful for this community. I'm grateful for the Other Side Academy. I'm grateful for this beautiful winter day. Mostly, I'm grateful to know that there is only one power, one presence, one love. It has many names, whether you call it God, Spirit, Allah, Jehovah, Hashem, the Way, Adonai, the Divine Matrix, the Force, Energy, Light. So many names and yet only one. This oneness is in and through everything. There's no place that it is not. It's in the trees and the mountains, in those snowflakes, in those blades of grass, in every animal, whether it's hopping, slithering, flying, swimming. It's in every sentient being. Knowing this is the truth of who and what we are, I claim and know that I am one and the same with this oneness. I am the I am. Everything I say, everything I do, every situation, every tear of grief, every moment of joy. And I know the same truth for everyone within earshot of this prayer. In this room now, watching online, listening to this service later. We are one in the same. We are the light. That can never be denied. So I know in this moment that light, that flame never goes out. It might change forms, but it never goes away. Light is always light, is always light. For those of us in this room that are grieving, that have lost someone this year or in years gone by, those tears are those proof, that proof of love. But we get to look to the light and remember our loved ones, that light is always with us, in our hearts, in our minds, in our memories. And I also know for those of us in this room that are simply saddened about the wars, the propaganda, the hate, all those things that happen on this planet, not just in our country, all over the world, that look like they're other than love. We know that whatever the situation and circumstances, that these are the things that need to happen so we can recognize the blessings that we have living on this beautiful planet. Having all these fellow humans, yes, humans that are divine. Because I believe humanity is our divinity. Our humanness is where we find our divinity, our light, our power. And for those of us in our room that want to just put your name into this prayer and also names of other ones, I invite you to do that now. You can say it out loud or say it silently to yourself. Cindy. Melissa. New baby Meredith. Addie. So yes, just keep those names coming. Because I'm affirming and knowing and claiming that your prayer has been heard here today. And the universe shows up in a big, bold way and says, yes, yes. This and so much more. So keep your eyes open for your answered prayer because it's here now. Because I know that as we stay grateful and thankful to these answered prayers, that it always works. God, Spirit, whatever you call this oneness, is always with us, answering these calls. So I release it into these laws that we study here, knowing that it only works 24/7, 365. And we release this prayer together by saying, and so it is, Amen, Ashe.